Hey guys, Ed Diaz here from Movement Morgan, and I'm with this lady. Well, guess what? Look, I even wore a tie for you, Stephanie.
Thank you, Ed.
No, in all honesty here, I can't think of anybody better to interview. Stephanie Ahlberg was my realtor, by the way, and she's been in this business forever. So I just want to ask you, well, first off, thank you so much for allowing me to interview you.
My pleasure.
And then secondly, tell us a little bit about when you started and why you went into real estate, because you're a really smart lady. You could have done pretty much anything you wanted.
Oh, that's sweet. Well, it's funny. I've sort of been around real estate all my life. My grandmother owned a number of apartment buildings in Shreveport, and whenever we'd go visit her as a kid, there was always a vacancy, and we'd go putter and do something, and so I kind of liked that. And then, as you know, I am an actress as well. I was seriously pursuing acting, and I thought I got into little real estate because my boss at the time in the mid-70s was buying and selling real estate in that boom period then. And I thought, that looks like a great job that I could do while I'm pursuing acting, because acting in theaters at night.
That's right.
So I went about halfway through real estate school, and I realized it is not a part-time job.
Mm-hmm.
So I put that aside, and then Tom and I got married, and we moved to Southern California for his residency. And I looked around and I thought, maybe I'll take up this real estate thing. So
this little thing.
I was so young, I didn't know,
Right.
So I got my license, and the rest is history.
Gosh, and you've seen so many cycles, Steph. I mean, I can't even imagine. So what are your thoughts about real estate in 2017? I mean, look, we have obviously the invasion of technology. You know, everybody wants to reinvent everything. Everybody wants to get rid of the face-to-face.
Right.
Forget about people. Let's go robots, artificial intelligence. Swipe right, swipe left. Everything's so digital now. What are
Right.
your thoughts about just the markets in general today?
Well, it's interesting because, as you mentioned before, I've seen a lot of different markets. I mean, when I finally got my license and started, interest rates were 18%. I didn't know anything different, so I sold houses. I didn't know that was high.
Sure.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
So, and I've been through the dot bomb, and I've been through the Gulf War, and I've been through the '89 earthquake, and I've been through the highs and lows. I think 2017, it's a very strong market, as you know. Our biggest issue, and has been for several years, is lack of inventory.
Yeah.
So that comes into the basic business model of supply and demand.
That's right.
So we have very little supply, and we have a very strong demand, and so consequently almost every listing is getting multiple offers and getting pushed up. Now I think in 2017 we've seen a little bit of pushback on the part of the buyers not willing to throw an extra $500,000 at a property just to get it, but they're still willing to overpay to get it. So I think until something changes with the supply, we're going to stay in a strong market.
Yeah, and what's considered to be a healthy market as far as number of days of or months of supply versus what do we have right now?
Right now we just have, I would have to look up to tell you, but I'd say probably less than a 30-day supply.
Wow.
6 months is a healthy market. More than 6 months, it becomes a buyer's market.
Right. In less than 6 months, obviously, is a very strong
It's
seller's market.
market, exactly.
And just so, for those of you who are watching, what this means is that what Stephanie is saying is that it would take less than 30 days to sell everything that is for sale right now. That is unbelievably anemic. We need to have at least 6 months in order for it to be a healthy market. So right now, it's a seller's market. But here's what I say. The number one ingredient to buying real estate, guess what? Willpower. You have to be willing to do it. And when's the best time? You said it, Steph. It's now. Everybody is going to talk about how this story of when they bought, everybody told them, it's overpriced. Pick a year. It could be 1953.
Exactly right.
They told them, don't pay your 10 grand, it's overpriced. And now look at them. Look, there's a reason why 84% of the Forbes 400, meaning the 400 richest people in the world, 84% of them have created the majority of their wealth through real estate. The numbers don't lie. It is what it is. So what do you think, especially here in San Francisco, what's your prediction going into the end of the year, because we're almost there, and going into the first quarter of 2018?
Oh my gosh.
I know.
It's interesting because last fall, typically, we see an influx of inventory in September. In San Francisco itself, people take off in the summertime. They go to Europe, they go to Tahoe, wine country, whatever. So we see an influx of listings in September. Last year, That was a month late. We didn't start seeing that until October. This year, I'm already starting to see an influx of listings, at least the kind my clients are looking for. And I'm working with a first-time buyer right now, one of them, and it's nice that we're starting to see an influx of first-time buyer properties because it's a ladder. You've got to get the first-time buyers in, and then those people get to do a move up, and then those people get to do a move up. So that's a very important element of the market, and they are selling very quickly. So I think that's going to have a trickle-up effect, and hopefully we'll see more listings in other categories of the market coming on. Again, very typical with no matter what the market is, come the holidays, it slows down. Because people are busy with family, they're busy with events, parties, etc. So I think we're going to have a pretty brisk fall. We probably have our typical slowdown during the holidays, but based on what I see happening in September, my expectation and hope would be in, say, January, that we see another influx of listings coming in.
Okay, yeah. That's good to know. I hadn't heard that before. And what are your thoughts as far as what areas are really, like, in your opinion, are things to watch as far as San Francisco? What areas would you really kind of pay attention to more than others?
Well, I think the south side of the city has definitely picked up and will continue to pick up, and that's being driven by the proximity to Silicon Valley and transportation and commuting.
That's a good point.
So Byrtle Heights is on fire right now, Potrero, all that whole south of Glen Park, Intermission, all of that is taking off. And what's really cool that's happening is with these young techie people buying in there, they demand a walk-to neighborhood. So they are now creating, by their demand, an influx of restaurants, coffee shops, stores. So those areas are just getting hipper and cooler by the minute.
It's the build it and they will come kind of theory.
Exactly.
What are your thoughts of condos versus single-family residences, particularly here in San Francisco?
Well, historically, the American dream has been to own your own single-family home. And I think that still holds up today.
Even in high-density areas like San Francisco?
Even in high-density areas. However, they are so pricey because there are much fewer single-family homes than there are condominiums, especially with these big buildings going up. Right. So my experience with first-time buyers and the tech people is they're very happy with a condo. They're very happy with that. That changes later on once they might get married and maybe have a child. Yep. And now it's feeling like it's a little squishy and they might want to go look for a single family home.
That's a good point. The younger you are, the more you buy the lifestyle, right?
Exactly.
You fall out of bed, hit a coffee shop, take an Uber, do everything within 30 seconds.
30 seconds, that's right.
So what are two takeaways you can give my audience as far as how to best prepare for buying a house in today's market?
Well, first of all, and this is always true, get a good realtor. Find someone you trust, maybe get a recommendation from a friend, or of course I'm always here to help. But seriously, get a good realtor because they're going to know what's happening in the market, they're going to know the inventory, and they're going to know properties that you are not going to be able to find on Redfin or Zillow or Realtor.com.
That's right.
And then the second most important thing to get prepared is get pre-approved, not just pre-qualified, pre-approved.
Know your numbers.
With an excellent lender like Ed who can tell you exactly what you can afford. Don't go buy a new car and that car payment to your debt and how much savings you're going to need, or maybe get some help from your folks.
Some gift money. Very, very good. So how can people get a hold of you?
I work here at Hill & Company Real Estate on Union Street in San Francisco. And the best way to reach me is 415-321-4232.
There you go. You heard it from the top agent. I'm going to use an analogy. You know how it used to be that there were supercars, and now there are hypercars that are better than supercars. The hypercar of real estate. See you guys later.
Bye.